Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing? Man, Antonelli here.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How we doing? Man, Antonelli here. So today we're going to talk about what it's like in a Major League Baseball clubhouse. Now, I was watching a video on YouTube. It was with CC Sabathia and Tim Anderson, and they were talking about their experiences when they got called up to the big leagues and what the clubhouse atmosphere was like. What did veteran players treat them like? And it was really interesting listening to CC Sabathia because he talked a lot about how he hated the atmosphere, how basically the veterans treated him like crap for his first 3, 4, 5 years in the major leagues, which is amazing. That's a long period of time to be treated like crap by veteran players. And he talked about how when he came over to the Yankees, and then as he became a veteran in Cleveland, but especially when he got traded over or when he signed with the Yankees, he tried to change that atmosphere. He really took young players under his wing. He tried to make younger players feel welcome because he didn't want them to go through the same things that he went through. And Tim Anderson said something similar where he said things are changing now, right? And he's trying to change things because it's a younger clubhouse. And he wants to be a vet. He's a young player, but he wants to treat the even younger players like equals, like they belong there. Let them be themselves. And I thought it was a really, really interesting discussion. And I want to talk a little bit about my experience when I made it to the major leagues. I think the first thing is, and I was told this, and a lot of players are told this, right? Younger players are expected to be seen and not heard when they get called up to the big leagues. Now, this is really, really strange to me. Be seen and not heard. And it's never made sense to me because why do I have to act different? Why can't I be myself? I earned, right? Every player that gets to the big leagues earns it. It's not like we opened up a fortune cookie, I had a great meal today. I love that pork fried rice and whatever. I open up, you are going to the big leagues tomorrow. Beautiful. And then you walk in that's not how it happened, right? I'm not Henry Rowan-Gardner from Rookie of the Year. I didn't fall and break my arm as a 12-year-old kid and then my tendons fused together and then I'm throwing 150 and I get picked out of center field after throwing a ball back. That's not how it happens, right? Every player earned their way to the big leagues. Most players grinded through either the minor leagues or they've just put a lot of work in their entire life. So when you get to the big leagues, why when I get there would I be told to not act like yourself? Just shut up, be seen, don't be heard, don't bother anyone, okay? For me, if I'm looking at this from an organizational standpoint, if I'm a manager, I want my players to feel comfortable. I want them to be able to be themselves. That's going to allow them to be the best versions of themselves on the field, right? I want my players to play the best they can on the field. I want them to feel comfortable. If they feel comfortable in the clubhouse around their teammates, well, they're going to feel comfortable on the field. They're going to perform better on the field, right? If I'm trying to tell them, no, you can't be yourself. You can't act like how you normally act. Well, is that going to make me feel comfortable when I get in the game? Is that the best way to go about it, to bring my ability out? I don't understand that. I've never really got it. And I know that I've always been cognizant of this pretty much at every level I've been at, right? And this isn't just like a major league thing. This happens if you think about it. If you guys are a college player or a high school player, a lot of times the seniors in high school, the seniors treat the freshmen differently, right? They make them kind of earn their stripes or whatever. And same thing in college. I remember in college, some of the seniors would put me through a bunch of crap as a freshman. And I always personally, when I was an older player, when I was a senior or a junior senior in high school, or if I was a junior or senior in college, I never was a senior in college, but if I was a junior in college or even a sophomore, I did the opposite because I know what it's like. I knew what it was like to feel kind of uncomfortable being that young player, right? In any situation, if you're new to some place, you're going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. At least I am. That's my personality. Some people might not. But my personality is I feel a little uncomfortable when I show up someplace and I don't know anybody. All right. And so I understood that as a player. So when young players came into the clubhouse, whether it was high school or college or pro ball or whatever, I was never a veteran in the major leagues, but I was a veteran in the minor leagues, unfortunately. And so I always made sure I went out of my way to talk with the younger players and to make them feel comfortable and make them feel welcome, make them feel part of the team because I just think that's the right thing to do. Just being a good person. And so, again, I don't understand why it's like that in Major League clubhouses, especially back in the day, like in CC Sabathia's day. Now, I do think this depends a little bit on a couple of things. One, I think it depends on the type of team you have, the age of the team, right? The more veteran teams might do this a little bit more, right? Because those guys, not everyone. This is not everyone. I played with plenty of older players that were fantastic. I played with Trevor Hoffman, who's like the nicest human being in the history of the world. But I do think that sometimes veteran players, right? They've been through it. You've heard the expression, big league in somebody, right? And that's essentially what happens sometimes with veteran players. They've been there a long time. They feel like they've worked hard. They've earned it. They've earned this long career. And don't try to be a rookie and come in the clubhouse and try to start to run things or get out of line, okay? Just sit there and I don't want to listen to you, right? Sometimes that happens. With younger teams, like I was fortunate when I came up with the Padres, we had a ton of young guys. Like, we were not very good that season, and we had called up a ton of guys. And so when I walked into the Major League Clubhouse, I actually knew a lot of the guys because a lot of them played with me in the minor leagues. A lot of them were in AAA at some point or in AA at some point with me. Now, we did have, again, some veteran players, but I got lucky, and we didn't really have very many veteran players that I thought were kind of jerks and didn't, include the younger players. Now, I also think that it's changing a little bit, especially what Tim Anderson says in the interview, because teams are getting younger. Over the last 5 to 10 years, MLB rosters are continuing to get younger and younger and younger, okay? There's more young players in the game than ever before. And I think when it comes to young players, right, usually the young players, they're just coming from the minor leagues. They don't know any better, okay? And so when they get to the big leagues, they're not going to act like pompous veteran jerks, okay? And again, I say that I don't want to give every veteran a bad name because this isn't the case with all veteran players. But I definitely do think that this exists, right? You don't even have to ask me. I wasn't around a lot. Go check out the CC Sabathia Tim Anderson interview, all right? CC says it was horrible. He said he was treated like an absolute, like people just treat him terribly. His first 3, 4, 5 seasons in the big leagues, okay? And that's CC Sabathia saying it, okay? So if you don't believe me, just listen to CC. But I do think it's changing with the younger players. I think that's for the good. And overall, I just think let players be themselves, okay? They're going to play the best if they just feel comfortable, all right? So I'm hoping that's the way that most teams go because it's going to make life a lot easier for young players, rookies coming up, making their big league appearances. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight into what Major League clubhouses are like. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. Thank you to our patrons on Patreon for supporting the channel. We really, really appreciate that as well. And that's all we have. We'll talk to you later.